Prelude. 4,500 years ago, Kalak is one of the 10 heralds, immortal beings who get resurrected after being tortured in some unknown place. He goes to meet the other heralds at a meeting spot and finds Jezreen, another herald, waiting. Jezreen informs Kalak that the others have abandoned the oath pact, and Kalak agrees, frightened, saying he cannot return to the place of nightmares again, effectively leaving one herald, Talanel, alone to uphold the oath pact and the sole sufferer of the pain and torture they endure each time they die and get resurrected. They then depart in opposite directions, never to meet one another, and disgusted at their own betrayal of the pact. Prologue. 4,500 years later. Zeth, a Shin assassin, attends the signing of a peace treaty between the Alethi and the Pashendi. As the Pashendi withdraw from the party, Zeth wears white and begins his assassination of King Galavar. Zeth uses his Surgebinder skills to find and kill King Galavar, who is a shard-bearer. On his deathbed, King Galavar asks who sent for his assassination, and Zeth proclaims it is the Pashendi. Galavar is confused, but gives Zeth a black sphere telling him that the Pashendi must not get it, and asks Zeth to pass on a message to his brother. Find the most important words a man can say. Zeth, as a Shin, considers a dying wish to be sacred and leaves a note for Dalinar, Galavar's brother. He takes the sphere and flees. Part 1. Chapter 1. Stormblessed. 5 years later. Kaladin Stormblessed is the leader of a group of soldiers that never loses a single man during battle. Unfortunately, though, during the fight against a Bright Lord, a Shardbearer arrives. The scene cuts as the new recruit dies from blood loss. Chapter 2. Honor is dead. 8 months later. Kaladin is now a slave waiting to be sold. Kaladin admits to the other slaves that he killed a man, but is a slave because he didn't kill one. Kaladin toys with a leaf called Blackbane, which he contemplates using on his slave handler. Quick note: Spren are fairy-like creatures, which are usually harmless, mischievous beings. There are Rot Spren for rotting corpses, which glow orange, Anger Spren for when someone is angry and glows red, Joy Spren for when you are happy and glows blue. These things pop up when something is happening. Back to the story. A Wind Spren approaches Kaladin in the form of a young woman and asks Kaladin what the Blackbane is. Kaladin is surprised the Wind Spren knows his name and realizes she is more intelligent than a typical Spren. She asks why he doesn't fight anymore. He says he failed. Kaladin realizes one of the other slaves is sick, but if given extra water, will recover. Kaladin informs his slave captor, Tivlakov, that the other slave is sick and needs extra water. Tivlakov instead kills the sick slave. Kaladin, in his anger, loses the Blackbane. Chapter 3. The City of Bells. Shallan Devar arrives by boat in Kabranth, the City of Bells. She receives word the woman she is chasing is still in the city, Yasna Kholin. Shallan takes one of the sailors with her, Yalb, to the palace, as Shallan attempts to become Yasna's apprentice. Yasna asked Shallan to meet with her in another city, then moved from that city, and to another city. Shallan has been chasing her ever since. Shallan's house finances are in shambles after the death of her father. If she doesn't find any source of income soon, her house won't last long. Shallan then turns a corner and sees Yasna. Chapter 4. The Shattered Plains. Kaladin's slave captor, Tivlakov, knows Kaladin wants revenge on Bright Lord Amaran. It is unknown why. The Windspren returns, revealing they are heading for a place that Kaladin realizes is the Shattered Plains. Other slaves are hopeful they will get a good slave job. Kaladin is doubtful due to the light eyes that he has known in the past. Chapter 5. Heretic. Shallan admires Yasna's beauty.
Yasna says because Shallan was so persistent, she will hear her plea for apprenticeship. After Shallan explains all her skills, including excelling at drawing, Yasna demonstrates her ability to soulcast by transforming stone into smoke, then rejects Shallan. Shallan is frustrated, but decides to persevere. Shallan reveals that she is not really here for an apprenticeship, but to steal Yasna's soulcaster to help her family recover her finances. Chapter 6. Bridge 4. Kaladin arrives at the war camp for High Prince Sidaeus. Kaladin is made to be a bridge crew member, and his immediate superior is a man named Gaz. Kaladin and Gaz hate each other. They then go on a bridge run, without shoes or vest for protection. After hours of carrying the bridge in agony, they arrive at the chasm, where the enemy Parshendi are waiting on the other side. Parshendi pelt the bridge crews with arrows, and Kaladin is the only survivor in the front row. Kaladin is knocked out and is woken by the Windspin, who uses some sort of energy. She tells him to wake up or he will be left behind, and then reveals her name is Sulfrina, or short, Sul. Kaladin makes his way back to camp, where he is put into Bridge 4, which houses the worst number of deaths amongst all the other bridge crews, and is noted for its bad luck, as they keep losing men on every run. Chapter 7. Anything Reasonable. Shallan waits for Yasna in a reading place. While waiting, she sketches, one of them including a picture of Yasna herself, and writes a letter to Yasna arguing why she should stay. She is interrupted by a religious man named Kabsal, who praises her sketches. Kabsal says he is trying to convert Yasna to Vornism. He leaves after a while, asking Shallan to pass on his message. She leaves a letter for Yasna and begins to take off herself when Yasna appears, looking angry. Chapter 8. Near the Flame. Yasna scolds Shallan for staying, but reads her letter. Then Yasna agrees to take her as her apprentice if she learns history and philosophy, and to come back once she does. Shallan worries this is too long or her house will suffer. Shallan meets up with Yalb, and Shallan and him go looking for books on history and philosophy to begin studying right away, in order to get to Yasna before she leaves Kharbranth. This is interrupted by Yasna herself, who commends her for her persistence and accepts her as her apprentice. Shallan thinks to herself that now she just doesn't have to get caught. Chapter 9. Damnation. Kaladin has been with the bridge crews for almost a month now. A young boy joins the bridge crews, who reminds Kaladin of his younger brother Tien. Kaladin starts to become depressed, and Sul leaves, stating he cannot bear to see him in this state. The boy who joined is killed on another bridge run, and Kaladin cries that he was unable to save him. Kaladin admits that he is now dead inside. Chapter 10. Stories of Surgeons. 9 years ago. Kaladin helps his father, Lirin, treat patients. Kaladin reflects on how his family is treated differently because his father is a surgeon. Kaladin cleans the room and is taught medicine by his father. Lirin plans to send Kaladin to Kharbranth to study and become a surgeon because Kal is so intelligent. Kaladin thinks to himself he would rather be a soldier, saving lives by taking lives. Chapter 11. Droplets. Kaladin goes to the chasm to commit suicide. Just as he steps out into the chasm, Sul intervenes, carrying a leaf called Blackbane to make Kal happy. Sul convinces him to try again like he did for the people in the army. Kaladin feels a renewal of his life. He goes back to camp and attacks Gaz, demanding that Gaz make him bridge leader of Bridge 4, the bridge that loses the most men during bridge runs. In return, Kal will give Gaz 1/5 of his earnings. Kal then goes inside and attempts to learn all their names.